let me invite on stage G.D. Rajkumar, who everyone knows here, a familiar figure in Coimbatore. And of course, we're missing one of the speakers who's supposed to be here today, but we are very well compensated. Please sit down. And Kanishka Arumugam, yes, co-CEO of Eki Water Technologies. Again, familiar faces to Coimbatore and Tamil Nadu. And this is, I think, a very, very important session for various reasons. And if you look at, everyone talks of this demographic dividend that India has, which is quite simply put that 65% of Indians are under the age of 35, and therefore it's our biggest strength in terms of having a workforce that is very young, that everybody aspires to. But as it turns out, it is also our biggest challenge. And if you look across the sectors, and you're in the green sector as well, everyone is crying out for talent. And this is a different kind of talent we're looking out for. The statistics show that 9 out of 10 workers today in India are still in the low-skill, low-productivity jobs. And one of the examples on the renewable sector, for instance, faces a shortage of close to 1 million skilled workers. And that number could go up to 1.7 million. Now, this is a sunrise sector, and here you have a skill gap that's there. The fact is that the government seems, the central government and state governments have recognized skill development as one of the priority areas. We know that the Modi government in 2015 launched the Skill India mission, which was boldly projected to train 300 million people. The jury is out on that. And the fact that many of them trained didn't find jobs, largely because the programs weren't aligned with the industry, with what the industry actually needed. Of course, the Modi government will differ and say that they have done an outstanding job, and they have. I mean, it's a very difficult task, as we know. But that is one of the big things that they need to answer for, because in any survey that India today does, and we have done our Mood of the Nation poll recently, we have seen how that is the number one problem. And now unemployment is the number one problem that keeps coming up. Just a quick word before I bring the panelists in, is that the Prime Minister has recently announced the Prime Minister's Internship scheme, which was launched last year, a very good example where he wanted 1 crore Indians or 10 million Indians to get real work experience in the top 500 companies that we have with stipends and to support them. There's also a push for inclusivity in some of these things. So you have here a huge attempt by the central government to create the kind of awareness and skill development that's there. But yet, as we know, there is a huge skill gap that is there. And so therefore, we have two appropriate panelists over here. G.D. Rajkumar, Managing Director, G.D. Weiler, one of the most innovative companies based in Coimbatore that was started by G.D. Naidu, his grandfather, who was a visionary and industrialist, innovative industrialist. And his father, G.D. Gopal, carried the legacy, and so are you. Today, they have some of the cutting-edge companies, including setting up a whole range of training centers. And of course, I have Kanishka Arumugam, co-CEO of Eki Water Technologies. He's a second-gen member of the Eki Water Technology Group and CEO currently. He's also Chief Executive of the Indo-German Alliance. Is that still on with you? And you've just got it past your MBA from the Oxford University. Is that correct? Is that also there? Okay, great. So let's start with you, Rajkumar. And you've been among the ones that had pushed. And I'm going to go into a general discussion before we come to specifics. That how do you explain this paradox that 88% of our workers are in unskilled, untrained jobs, when actually we have the youngest workforce and we need there's tremendous amount of jobs that require skill. What's the reason for this paradox?
Good evening, Raj. Thanks a lot for inviting me here. Good evening to everyone. The problem has started many, many years ago. I think India being focused with the British system of education, we never focused on skilling like Germany or Switzerland or Austria.
Good point.
The problem here is because there was no focus on that, at some point of time, the governments did realize it. I think the first training institute was started in Okhla when Mr. Nehru went to Germany and spoke to the then Chancellor.
Right.
And they started the Okhla Training Institute. And thereafter, the NTTFs came, the Netto Technical Training Foundation,
Right.
which was started by a Swiss missionary in India. And they spread across all over India. And then, like institutes like our own institute, GTTI, we started in
Right.
2002. And we are the only institute giving a German certificate to the trainees. The biggest problem, I think, is right from the beginning, we don't have master trainers.
Right.
But if you take skills, although you say 88% is, not properly skilled, there are certain trades. You take, for example, a hairdresser today, or a plumber, or an electrician. They earn higher salaries than even engineers. I mean, people who have apartments and houses know what's happening. They have a breakdown and they want to call somebody. They charge whatever they want to because they are skilled. And one thing what we need to focus is on the remuneration of these skilled trainees when they pass out. What is it we are willing to pay them? What are the trainers going to get?
Right.
And do we have enough master training institutes in the country to give skilled education? And then the most important thing is recognition. Now we have an institute which is giving a German certificate, but our trainees are not recognized in India.
Really?
Because we follow the German system of training.
Okay.
And we won the first World Skills silver medal for the country. And it was literally not even brought out in any media or anything. This was in the year 2009. And many medallions of excellence. Initially, we took part in literally every World Skill competition in manufacturing. Now, there are many sectors where we are doing very well. You take chefs, working in restaurants. We have great people. We have a lot of good people who are skilled. But when it comes to manufacturing, there is definitely a big skill gap, which has traditionally been there. And to bridge this, as I told you, these three things, remuneration, recognition, and master training is very, very important. Only then we can go forward.
Very good points, and that's a good sort of setup to look at your sector, Kanishk, in terms... Sorry, I whacked one of your mics. So you can keep this. Sorry. Yeah. Take a look at the renewable energy sector, and I mentioned the kind of figures that there's a skill gap of close to 1 million people that the industry or the sector requires. How do we plug these gaps quickly, in your experience, without compromising on quality? That's the main thing, right? You can do the numbers, but if you don't bring quality into it, that's going to be an issue.
Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Namaste. And
closer
welcome.
to the mic, yes, please. This mic, I think you'll have
Is
to hold
it okay?
Yes,
Yeah,
right next
first
to
of
your
all,
mouth.
thank you for having me in this conclave. Regarding skills, I think in India, academia has been part of the education system, right? The skill training is sitting at the corner of academic world. It's usually considered as an add-on certificate program or something like this. So I think skills should be at the heart of industry and education. So I think this is where we have to start with in terms of skilling. So skills cannot be skills certificates or external professional certification doesn't work. So I mean, skilling should be at the heart of industry and education.
No, in
sector.
your particular industry, renewables, which is the sunrise industry, what would your suggestion be in terms of developing skilling centers? Or
I work in the water technology and pump space. When you mean skilling, usually people consider it to be a plumber or pump fitter or electrician and stuff, right? Skilling is usually considered as part of a blue-collar job. But why should it be? From the CEO to the watchman, everyone needs skilling. Like AI today is, everyone needs to have the skill set in AI. So I think, skilling as a perspective has to change, not just for blue collar employees, but for everyone. So there has to be a better aspirational brand, and career paths through skill schools and skill programs should be encouraged more.
Okay, you're looking at the stigma that is attached to vocational courses and how you can de-emphasize that, make it more sort of respectable, if you would like to call it.
If I add one more comment, it's like in Germany, 75%
I love the way both of you keep quoting Germany. I mean, this must be just a common connection.
And in South Korea, it's around 96%. India stands around skilling around 2 to 4%. So we have a lot of work to do in that space. And we already have the blueprint of Germany and South Korea, where skilling employees from, all levels has played an important role in their industrial transformation.
Right. Rajkumar, I want you to do a critical analysis. We had the Skill India program. It's not that we don't have programs. We have a plethora of them, and the government's, premier program was Skill India. And there they promised what? 30 crore, that's 300 million people should be skilled. What is your an assessment of the outcomes? And what, in your view, should have been done or not done?
See, firstly, to your question, you said we're quoting Germany. So let me just put that in perspective. I am not an engineer.
Right.
I am a skilled workman, trained in Germany for 3.5 years as an industrial mechanic, and I underwent the German skill training program. That is why I'm quoting Germany.
And if you say mechanic here, people think that's in India, he's a mechanic. That's the way they look at it, right? Yeah. Unfortunately, that respect for labor is not there. Yes, but go ahead.
So I'm basically an it's called an industrial mechanic course, which was a 3.5-year course where you go for 3 days a week to the factory. And each factory there has an apprenticeship department where for the first 1 year, you are put systematically through a training program. Second and third year, you go to various departments of the factory, and always in a week, 1 or 2 days, you go to the school, where many companies compulsorily, the trainee goes and gets a contract with a company for the vocational program, and all these trainees compulsorily have to go to the school to learn the theoretical part, which is conducted by the government.
Okay, I'm going to interrupt you because what I would really like you to do, while I know that the German system is superb, we have had the government, along with this internship program, talk of a revamp of the ITIs across India. So let us take that experience, which is unique in some senses, but let us see, and you've run technical training institutes here, what should the government do specifically when it talks of a revamp of the ITIs and everything else that's there? What do they need to do if they have to meet the current skill gap?
So that's where I wanted to get to. So 2016, our Honorable then Skill Development Minister, Mr. Rudy, visited our institute. And he was totally taken aback by the standards. And he asked a question, are you recognized? I said no. So he said, we would like to use an institute like yours as a benchmark and improve the quality of the ITIs. So we actually developed something called, along with the joint secretaries then in Delhi, we developed a program called GVET, German Indian Institute of Vocational Education and Training. This was supposed to get deployed, and every state wanted one GVET, and the best practices from these GVETs were supposed to get into the ITIs.
Never happened.
COVID came, and many things fizzled out. Many people changed, and we could not drive. And the German side also, they were having a fear because each 2 states needed somebody to handhold to ensure that the quality of training is good. And this whole thing fizzled out. That's what happened.
Okay, I'm going to come back to this, but let's get Kanishka into this. Let's measure success of skill centers, right? This is one of the measuring success of skill centers from number trained to number employed. That's the key. Where is this gap? Again, I'm looking at this gap because, and you're looking at the renewable energy sector, so you can use that as an example. How do we bridge that gap? I keep asking this question.
I think in India, from my experience, little experience, there is a lot of gap between academic world and the industrial world, right? So let's not blame the government alone. Like I think industry and academia should sit together, and demand should come from industry. I come from the industry. I think we often less interact with the academic world. So interaction with the academia, demand should come from the industry, and the educational institutions should supply the demand. So this is A, right? And to be globally competitive, I come from Coimbatore, which is called as the pump city of Asia, right? You need to have German engineering, Japanese quality, Italian finish at Chinese prices, combined
Sounds like
with,
that old Rajkumar song.
Combined
Raj Kapoor, sorry.
combined with Korean efficiency.
Mere jhuta hai Japani or iska, I don't know.
So all that is possible by skilling, and I think Coimbatore has got the right ecosystem. Very few cities around the world have that ecosystem. Like Stuttgart in Germany or Shenzhen in China. I think Coimbatore will be known for an industrial innovation zone if we continuously to work on the skill set and skill schools working together, academic world and the industry working together.
Right. No, I'm going to come to a little provocative question, because everyone throws it to the government and says, why isn't the government doing this? Look, skilled workers is the need of the industry. You all need to be doing that, right? I mean, industry needs to be saying, I don't have the skilled manpower. What can I do to train and have internships and employment sort of schemes that build in the skill levels? So should we say, or what would be the way out? Do we de-emphasize government, and you say that the skill business should be run privately? The government could fund the best of them, but the government should get off this vehicle. The industry knows what to do with what skills it wants.
I think what the government should do is, should tie up with the best of the institutes in Germany and Switzerland. These are the countries where skilling is at its best level. Actually, it's dwindling down there too. Create syllabuses which are available for the industry. The industry should do the training. And the government should allow the industries, depending on the duration of the courses, allow the industry to give a diploma, because MSD, Ministry of Skill Development, has under the NCVET program a skill certificate as well as a diploma certificate. Now, the government should give both choices to the industry. You do a 2-year course, you are allowed as a company to give a skill certificate. You do a 3-year course, as a company you can give a diploma certificate, diploma in tool and die making, diploma as CNC machining technology or whatever. But one fundamental thing which I forgot to touch upon earlier, when you talk about these ITIs and all that, one fundamental mistake, what has been happening in the past, the trainers in the ITIs are engineers. How can an engineer who never held tools in his hand go and train people? People think engineers can be trainers. Engineers cannot be trainers. The typical Indian engineer cannot be trainers.
I hope there are no engineers out here who are doing that. But
the engineers can do many things.
Right.
But I'm talking about skill deployment. Mm-hmm. Taking a tool in the hand and showing how to do it, because the engineer himself has never done it. So you are saying, who should they appoint? They should take these people who have passed out of the NTTFs or from institutes like ours, who have done a skilling program for 3.5 years, have in each region, southern regions, western region. In Bangalore, for example, one of the first tie-ups what India had with Germany, with the state of Baden-Württemberg, was the Foreman Training Institute, FTI. Today, people think you don't need a foreman training. That's actually a master training institute. But the whole thing has dwindled. It's become something else now. So we need these master training institutes everywhere. Why do we have fantastic, chefs and pastry makers? Because Taj hotels put up these training centers in few places in the country, and cooks are being trained very professionally. ITC also, and they are getting jobs now in other hotels. And even doing their own startups. Individuals are starting. I recently met a lady in Coimbatore who was trained at ITC. She started doing, pastries and all that. It's all finally hand skills. So engineers cannot do hand skills unless they themselves have gone through a skill training program.
Okay, would you, Kanishka, come on to this in terms of the fact that there was a National Skill Development Corporation, there still is. And for a while, there was a scheme that said that the government would fund certain industries, and the industries can then run those skill programs in their own companies. But as it turned out, there were aberrations, and some of them was that the industries took the money, and after 2 years returned it, but used the money for something else, used it as capital for them, and that became a problem. Where now, of course, the government has said, okay, we will subsidize certain parts of the Provident Fund and others. What is the best way out, Kanishka? You've come back from an MBA degree. This is all about management that needs to be employed in terms of bettering the program. What are 2 or 3 things you would say?
A professor of mine from Oxford used to say, over-analysis leads to paralysis. Academicians always, deliberately talk about, this work and the PhD is coming up with a lot of research work, but nothing gets applied. The only way is to go, apply, test it, and build on it, right? That's skills. It's like a pilot flying a simulator versus a pilot actually flying a real plane. So skills is like the real pilot who actually flies a plane, and just knowledge alone is like in a simulator. So number 1 is application. My thoughts would be on 4 I's, I would say. 1 is innovation. I think cities like Coimbatore or zones like this should innovate. We should export more of internationalization, inclusivity, as my friend Mr. Rajkumar said, that the trainers has to be given as equal respect as a professor or a lecturer in a college, right? So there is a lack of trainers, good quality trainers, and they should come from industry and a methodological approach to train the trainers. So, and my last I would be innovation, internationalization, inclusivity, and I would say improve. Every day.
Say, sorry, what
improve your organization.
Okay, sorry, the system.
Improve your organization, improve the skill set. I think every day we all work together to improve our organizations in the country, right? So skilling is a very important part of it.
Good. Rajkumar, I think one of the issues that we have sort of dealt with but not really in depth is how do you remove this second-class treatment that vocational education gets? We call it skill education, call it what? But anyone who goes towards being a plumber, a beautician, somehow society kind of, even the parents say, but why don't you go for a degree? Right? And it's a different matter that none of these degrees, particularly BA, we used to say Bekar degree, because no one got jobs, all of them were unemployed. How can we change the mindsets of society which says that any job that you do is a skilled job, and we don't treat our plumbers too well, we require them, our carpenters. Just look at our own homes, right? We want skilled workers coming in to do it. Why can't we change the attitudes, and what needs to be done about that?
As I said, firstly, it's the remuneration. When they pass out and come, suppose they go to a skill institute and do a proper training and come out, how much are they getting paid? Initial years, they don't get paid well. It takes time with their experience, and finally, as I told you, they even earn more than engineers.
So the reverse in Germany is there, that the person who's trained from vocational education gets more money than the regular...
Yeah, even in India.
Right.
Even in India, because you just said it. Many of the engineers are not getting employed, and even CII has statistics about it. And many of the engineers don't get employed. In fact, what I would say is there are many good things in the NEP, because now schools also, CBSE schools, they have brought in skills as part of the curriculum, which is quite good.
Correct,
And since our roots are in automotive, we run a school where we teach automotive skills, and the enthusiasm, what you see with the children, is really fantastic. Similarly, at the engineering level, we spoke about the medium level, middle level till now. At the engineering level also, the first 1.5 years, according to me, an engineering student should not be sitting in the classroom. He should be sitting for 4 days a week in a lab, or not in a lab, in a workshop, learning skills. And this workshop can also be used for supplying components or parts to the industry. And 1 day a week theory classes. And they can, in this way, when they come to the theory classes after 1.5 years, they'll be really fit to understand what is being taught in theory.
Right. I mean, I think the larger point is how do you change the mindsets of parents when their child comes back and says, look, I'd rather do this than take an engineering degree, right? My entrepreneurship is, say, setting up a plumbing factory and repairing all the taps and plumbing works across. That's one of the things. But there are just 3 minutes left, and let's look at, maybe Kanishka, you can start with your experiences of how AI is transforming the workplace and technology is transforming it in its own way with the use of AI on this thing. And how do we then meet this new challenge? On one side, you have not been able to fulfill and meet the skill gap. On the other side, you have the world growing rapidly in technology and AI, and that requires a whole new set of skills and also makes a whole lot of people unskilled to that thing. So what is your solution to some of these things?
I think the future of work would be with people who work not against AI. It would be people who know to work along with AI and the people who are not with AI. So AI is part of us. So there'll be two groups, like, people who are adapting to AI versus the people who don't know AI. So point number one, right? I mean, as computers change the world, I think AI is going to change everything from, how you work, cook, everything in everyday's life. So I think change is inevitable and AI will be a part of a big revolution in this journey.
Rajkumar, to you the final word, 1.5 minutes to go, is, look, a lot of the machines are doing the work that once the skilled mechanics and everybody else was doing. And AI is coming in a big way. So where do you see this train coming? Are you going to be hit by it or you jump onto it?
AI is going to take over in a very, very big way, particularly because vision is being combined with robotics. So today, with vision combined with robotics, you can bring in so much of intelligence. Like a human being, robots can adapt. It's just not you train a robot to do only this. They go and do something, they find this is not okay. They'll even do the correction. Recently I was at a show in Germany.
No, I've got 1 more minute. I want to say,
Yeah.
So what do? Here we've got this whole skilled manpower, and suddenly AI has come and taking away all these big skills that we have. So what is the sort of emergency measures we need to take?
We need to revamp the entire system and get in companies on board. Master training is very important, and giving more autonomy to the industries. Let the industries use their CSR funds, even for paying the stipends of the students and the trainees and the master trainers. Let them be allowed to use the CSR funds for all this.
Last word, 20 seconds. 10 seconds to you, then we have to say bye.
I had this conclave in Coimbatore, right? The other day I was there in this Seven Hills city. In London, a leading architectural firm that was developing the Amravati city, they were discussing about this project, right? It was so interesting to see how ecological balance and Coimbatore on that zone has, more than 200 educational institutions in Coimbatore, industries and entrepreneurs. So all this makes it a very, very unique ecosystem, and I think that's the way forward.
Well, G.D. Rajkumar, Kanishka Arumugam, we've run out of time. A very important subject. Ladies and gentlemen, they gave us some rare insights into that. Let's give them a very, very warm round of applause for this. Thank you very much. Thank you.